welcome to a new episode of the Pre-Compass Jam Sessions podcast. I am Fatima Tair and I will be your host today. Today's guest is Ivan Lesay, Chief Executive Officer of the Slovak Investment Holding, the financial promotional institution in Slovakia. Welcome, Ivan, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Ivan, we are here today to discuss your response to the coronavirus in Slovakia, the Anti-Corona Guarantee. What is this guarantee and how does it use European structural investment funds to support local businesses affected by the pandemic?
Well, the Anti-Corona Guarantee is a special instrument that we decided to introduce right at the beginning of the Corona crisis. We, at the Slovak Investment Holding, we actually sat down very early to discuss the possible impact of the lockdown that was just being introduced and the impact on businesses. We talked about how Slovak Investment Holding could step in, and so we decided to introduce a financial instrument that would help small and medium enterprises to carry over the period of difficulties that were caused by the necessary health and safety measures. And so this is in short.
Okay, and can you specify a little bit about this guarantee? Can you give us a bit more details?
Yes, absolutely. This is a guarantee up to 80% of individual loans with 50% portfolio cap. It is aimed for basically all the SMEs that are eligible under the European structural and investment funds. We work with commercial banks that further pass this help to the SMEs. So that's in very short.
You managed to introduce this instrument very quickly in Slovakia. Several banks have been proposing this product to their clients for 2 months now. Can you let us know how successful it is?
Very, very quickly after the first signs of probably difficult times to come, we tried to organize ourselves, and we had our first internal teleconference on March 16. A week after, basically, we launched a market consultation with the market, with the banks, and by the end of March, we had a de minimis scheme approved by the Anti-Monopoly Office, which was also record speed, given the institution's track record, I have to say. And on March 30, we published a call for expression of interest for the banks. By a week's time, that is by April 5th, we got 9 banks expressing their interest. And the first contract with the quickest of the banks was signed on April the 17th. So basically, from the very beginning to the first signature with the bank, it took exactly 1 month.
Okay, so a very quick process indeed. And what were the challenges encountered in this process?
I'll have to probably say that everything was a bit of a challenge, including internally in the Slovak Investment Holding. The publishing the call and doing this procedure of selecting banks was a new thing to us, because previously we did tenders and that was a different story. But yes, these are all unprecedented times, and not only internally but also in the financial intermediaries in the banks. There were problems because this kind of a financial instrument, financial product, its implementation hasn't been easy for banks as well. They needed to set up new procedures to provide loans to their customers as effectively as possible, and also following state aid, basically de minimis scheme. So there was not easy to them, and so this has affected the speed overall. So it was challenging for us and for the banks, but still we managed somehow.
Good. Can you please share with us some expected results in terms of loans uptake and give us an example of a final recipient?
Regarding the number of the banks, we signed contracts with 8 of them. 2 of them have started really quickly. They are one of the biggest SME finance providers, and they have already reached out to us regarding the increase of their original allocation, which is very good. We can share the number that is not precise. It's dozens of loans that have been already provided to SMEs. In the contracts we signed with banks, there's a quarterly reporting requirement, so we'll know exactly, and we'll know more in let's say July or in August. So I think it's difficult to assess the overall success, but I mean we can see that most of the companies that manage to get a loan are still working, and they are alive. One example to share it was actually the first loan by the first bank, so that's why it's not only episodic, but it's got some symbolism in it. So it was the company called Utex, Slovakia. They received a 600,000 euro loan. It is a company that sells carpets and parquet, and they had to close down because of the lockdown in April, and hopefully this loan will help them bridge this difficult time until they are able to open again. And we believe, and we have episodic evidence of other companies having the same troubles, but being offered help in the form of bridge loans and managing to survive, basically.
I know you are planning other measures as well, which should target mid-caps and large caps. Where are your discussions up to with the Ministry of Finance and other government authorities as regards another potential financial instrument?
Yes, this new financial instrument is they are currently in the process of finalization. We are waiting for the European Commission to approve the state aid scheme. The difference to the previous guarantee is that this one will work under the new regime, the so-called temporary framework for state aid. And in the meantime, while waiting, we opened market consultations again. The purpose of this procedure, as was the case in the first guarantee instrument, is to receive feedback from banks and to try to accommodate it to the relevant contract. And we plan to publish call very soon. And yes, this new guarantee will be available also to large companies. That's the difference to the previous one. And also some parameters changed. Loans up to 2 million will be covered 90%, and loans above 2 million will benefit from an 80% guarantee. And there will be no portfolio cap.
For the last question, you informed us in a previous interview that you had decided to impose the teleworking mode as early as the beginning of March. Now, everyone is speaking about exit strategies. Can you tell us a few words about how you see the future at work in the coming months?
Yes, it's true. We decided to introduce voluntary home office for our employees since March. I think it was around March 9 or 10. I must say things here in Slovakia are slowly, let's say, getting back to normal, and the protective measures are being slowly lifted. And we already discuss in the board possible return to our offices, but actually we are not in a hurry. It worked quite okay, even on a tele mode. And I believe that we should be back to perfect normal only after the summer holidays. And regarding your second question, what I think about the future, I think that the crisis that we are going through will or might have an impact on future of office environment in many Slovak companies, including ours, and not only in Slovakia, but I think it will be about the same in all Europe or in the world. My key assumption is that remote work probably is going to stay, and that there might be demand for improved and more efficient virtual workspace. So this is my assumption, but it's not only me, but wiser people are probably saying this. So
thanks, Ivan. Thanks a lot for your time today, Ivan. I hope you enjoyed this short interview. I'm sure our listeners will find this episode of the FICOMPAS Jam Sessions podcast useful and interesting.
Yes, and thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. It was a pleasure to share my experience. Thanks a lot.
Stay tuned for the next episode of the FICOMPAS Jam Sessions. If you have any questions or want to suggest a new podcast topic, send us an email at info@ficompas.eu. Have a good day, everybody.